Music make you lose control. Music make you lose control.
Hi guys. Well, before I start this thing off, I just realized I recorded the entirety of my last video with my computer mic. So I fixed that and now it's connected to this $40 USB one. Anyway, here's the first quote-unquote real video I was talking about. I'm gonna try and make the script more coherent than my AP English essay. Let's get it. I want to address the issue of if extreme demons are getting too hard. So yeah, let's get right into it. If you've been around the community long enough, you'll know that difficulty has been steadily increasing since this game's conception. The first difficulty milestone, as I'll call it, was Demon Park, a level so difficult for its time, it created the very first rating of Demon. Well, this is now an easy demon everyone beats, one of their first non-Rob top demons. It used to be a different story back in the day. You'll notice a pattern throughout this video regarding this, as I'll call it difficulty inflation. I'll explain this later. Anyway, back to the history. After Demon Park, time passed and Hacks levels were released all the time by mysterious Korean creators such as Seri, Neptune, or Roadbows. These levels got some notoriety for being notoriously difficult and even considered impossible. However, to this day, some of these levels were remade, especially Seri's Hell series and his level Red World. And some of these remakes are actually in the Demons list today. While Seri is important to our story, I find that Neptune and Roadbows are far more relevant, due to them being the creators of Deadly Clubstep and Ice Carbon Diablo X respectively. I'll explain why these levels are so legendary. Before Riot had made that first difficulty breakthrough in beating these, they were seen as impossible. No one stood a chance at beating these, and in the case of Ice Carbon Diablo X, it was far above the general community skill level due to straight flying. I don't think anyone else had a record close to 70%. However, a player as skilled as Riot was able to beat ICDX. Riot beat both Deadly Clubstep and ICDX, and in beating these, he made these impossible levels possible. He had realized a new era in this game. This is the next difficulty milestone in this game's history. We saw other relevant levels such as Decode, which is another example of, as they call it, difficulty inflation. It was considered insane extreme at the time. Also, Cataclysm, which still remains extreme today. However, these levels are now not considered nearly as hard, and they're beaten all the time by even average players. Regardless, 1.9 difficulty reached its zenith with Bloodbath. The quote-unquote Bloodbath era is widely regarded as the golden age of Geometry Dash, and Bloodbath's completion blasted Riot into the stratosphere. This level was so revolutionary and difficult at the time, no one else beat it for 8 months after, and it kickstarted the, in C's words, 144Hz revolution. And while I could continue with the history, I'll stop now and explain its relevance. Over time, we have seen all of the aforementioned levels, from seen as impossible ICDX to Bloodbath, be slain by casual demon slayers and even mobile players today. But how did this happen? We can point to a couple of factors. One was the 144Hz revolution. Having a refresh rate over double that of 60Hz, which is default to most players, allowed for straight fly and other difficult skills to be much easier and much more accessible. We can also attribute another factor, that being the passage of time. As players played these levels more and more, they eventually got used to the gameplay, and straight fly is now a fairly common skill among Geometry Dash's decent players. Additionally, the same phenomenon has occurred with Wave. This increase in ability therefore led to difficulty inflation. Our once hardest levels are now beaten relatively commonly, and they have lost a lot of their difficulty. Cataclysm is no longer the number one demon, and it's fallen all the way down to the legacy list. Bringing Decode back up, it used to be an insane extreme demon at the time due to the wave. This is due to people not being used to it at the time, and it had very few victors, similarly to Straight Fly with Ice Carbon Diablo X or Bloodbath. But as time passed and player skill increased, Decode is one of the easiest starter demons out there. I mean, even I beat it. There is this one guy, LuigiDB, who even verified Decode 20 times in a row. Carmel has also beaten this. If he had been playing in 1.9, he may have been hailed in skill above Riot. And this is how our hardest levels have become our easiest. As skills such as Wave or Straight Fly have increased, we've seen a sharp drop in prominence of our Bloodbaths and Succuban Hells, to below even 100th on the demon list. But how does this relate to the modern era? Geometry Dash players constantly seek to top each other and push the boundaries of difficulty. I'd say in the post-Bloodbath era, we've seen gradual bumps like Sonic Wave and Yata-Garasu. But even these levels have fallen to the 20s and 30s on the demons list. 2 years ago, these were reserved for the most elite of players, but anyone with enough resilience and a 144Hz monitor can handle it. After this, we had the Bloodlust era, yet another milestone in difficulty, in my opinion. However, even Bloodlust was compared to Yata-Garasu difficulty, despite Bloodlust being significantly higher today. But from Bloodlust, and a controversy between Krazen and Nobleboy, the question of 240Hz monitors as the next step was brought up. While Nobleboy took over 100k attempts to beat Bloodlust, I'd like to note on a 144Hz monitor, Krazen had slain it in just 14 to 15k on a 240Hz monitor. Many asked if the difference between 144 and 240Hz and just how big it was, and if 240Hz was the future of this game in extreme demon slaying. After all, the top players such as Nepesta, Technical, and Krazen all use 240Hz. While 144Hz is still very common, 240 is essentially 144Hz is 144Hz, being the next step in monitor tech all the pros use. Regarding this, we see that while Nepesta was verifying Kinos, he upgraded to a 240Hz monitor part of the way through and buffed it like crazy to compensate, up to a top 5 extreme. But enter Tartarus, the current hardest demon. While Bloodbath was our hardest demon that almost anyone can beat now, can we say the same for Tartarus? I would argue no. This level is inconsistent as heck and it requires some near pixel perfect timing that Bloodbath simply doesn't have. Even the best players will take around 50k attempts. We haven't seen the same thing with Kinos, however, even though Kinos is 3rd place while Tartarus is 1st place. That's just how big the gap is. Technical is regarded as the best Geometry Dash player, and he pulled off Kinos in under 20k attempts, but he took 47k with Tartarus. And while this may be due to him being better at Wave than Nepesta, that's only part of it. While Technical is considered to be the best player, we're still seeing this huge gap between the number 3 and number 1 demon. And that gap's to be seen. No one has beaten a level harder than Tartarus, although there are many contenders such as Sonic Wave Infinity, Silent Circles, Demos, Firework, or even the Apocalyptic Trilogy. I know it's disappointing, but I can't say for sure if extremes are getting to extreme. Only time will tell. Better hardware has enabled players to beat the more extreme demons of today. As a result, this has made the demons list paradoxically inaccessible to players with worse hardware, well, when referring to levels such as Tartarus, but oddly easier and in the reach of a lot of players in terms of some of the lower demons as difficulty inflation has made our once top 10 A Bizarre Phantasms and Hell Factories fodder for anyone dedicated enough with a 144Hz monitor. Even 60Hz players can do it. No one will know for sure if Tartarus is our peak or if we are near the difficult. Oh. No. My bad. Yeah. No one will know for sure if Tartarus is our peak or if that peak's way far off, but that's to be seen. All I can say is that while Riot was the king of 1.9 Geometry Dash, Trusta, arguably the king of 2.0, and technical, arguably the king of 2.1, there is a lot of ambiguity regarding the king of 2.2. Will our current best players measure up? Will 2.2 even come out? Or will someone new beat Tartarus in like sub 10k attempts? The only means to answer this question is hindsight. This is the first real commentary video I've made, and I tried to make it. Oh, bruh. I keep like stuttering. Whatever. I'll try that again. This is the first real commentary video I've made, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more. Additionally, I'd like to give a shout out to Blathers TV on Twitch. It's weird that I'm a small channel giving a shout out to someone with like 20 times my followers on actually it's probably more like 200 times. Okay, it's still weird to be giving a shout out to a guy who's so much bigger than me, but he's a really great player and I found his streams to be very entertaining. Anyway, that's it. Please remember to like and subscribe. Sorry about the edgy humor and the bad mic quality last video, but I hope you enjoy, and see you next time.